All right. So today I will be I'll be talking about something that I'm still learning and still trying to figure out. A lot of things I'm trying to figure out. But it's to keep a positive attitude towards anything, really. Anything, especially stress related or something that would just make me feel maybe upset or sad or just something that would uh, mess with my balance, just things that could bother me and things that could lead me to go into a spiral of negative thoughts and things like that. And I've lived that way for, uh, being honest, most of my life. And I don't like the way that it made me feel. I don't like the way that I was going on about my day to day life, being constantly stressed and seeking for something or seeking approval of maybe some person or something. It doesn't even got to be a person, but seeking some sort of validation or gratification or whatever. I'm just throwing words out there, but I think you get the picture. I don't like to live that way. So I am choosing to live differently. And it's easier said than done to say that you will keep a positive attitude. And usually I say this when I have nothing to stress about or just I'm happy or I'm in a good mood. So, you know, what could even go wrong? Why would I be mad about anything? But really, I'm saying this as I still am. I still have 2 exams to do that are going to be the most difficult ones. And I study, but the material seems to be fairly complicated for me to understand. But I will get there. The thing is, keeping a negative attitude, especially in a scenario like this, would not benefit me in any way. And this is something similar to what I've said on a previous video where I was talking about how important it is to keep your composure and to keep, to make sure you're calm and, if you can, at, all situations that you find yourself in. And I don't want you to act like a robot and pretend to not have feelings and ignore them and just push people away or whatnot. That's not my objective, no. The thing is, keeping the negative energy would not only not help you, but most likely will fuck you up more. Like, you will fuck up the things that you are involved in, your mental state, your mood, your whatever. It will just fuck you up. And so you gotta pick your poison. You're already in a shitty situation. That's the only reason that you would even be stressing. So you gotta choose how how you're going about this, because it's something you gotta go through anyway. And would you rather feel, or being too focused on how you feel and things like that, or just accept reality for what it is and just, it is what it is. Usually what I say to myself, and as corny as it might sound or whatnot, look, at the end of the day, I know I got myself. And that's a phrase that I would say to myself. And I found myself saying that a lot last year, because last year I felt, in a sense, I felt extremely alone, and I didn't like the way that I was feeling. I didn't like the way that things were going for me. I would get into situations thinking that, or expecting a certain outcome, and then boom, something else happens, and then it doesn't work out, and things like that. And I'm not speaking only for personal relationships, even projects that I may have had, or things that I've set to accomplish last year, and maybe because I didn't put the work in, or things that were really not in my control, that led me to just not being able to accomplish those. And I could have just stayed upset at the situation and just dwell on the negative feelings that I was starting to get due to the situation. But I decided to, in a way, say this as a mantra or something. Like, I gotta detach myself from the outcome or the result, whatever you want to call it, because I don't like living in a way that my feelings would be flip flopping all the time, and I don't want to be in a constant high and low type of thing. Shit. And when I was feeling bad about myself or bad about situations that happened, I just take time for myself. And even if I wasn't on vacation from work, on my days off, I would just go out by myself. I remember I went to the movies by myself. I never went to the movies by myself, and I thought that shit was going to be, weird, because people who go to the movies usually see a lot of people with friends, and I happened to be alone. And I was always a little iffy about going. And I did end up going, and I actually enjoyed my experience a lot. Got me a nice bucket of popcorn, got me a nice soda, watched the movie. Shit was cool. It was cool. Watched the movie. I remember went to a few stores, and then came back home. It was cool. I came back home feeling better about myself, feeling just relaxed. I guess I was stressing a lot, so that would be something that made me relieve my stress. But as I said, to not live or be too reliable on your feelings too much. And I'm not saying for you to kill them, like remove your feelings from you. You can't do that. I'm just saying for you gotta acknowledge whatever it is that may be bothering you and making you feel the way you're maybe feeling. And I feel like I'm saying feel too much, but whatever. But you gotta acknowledge, you gotta accept it, and if it's something you can change by removing it or just stepping away from it, do so. And if it's something you can't really change, and you gotta accept it is what it is, and not allow it to dictate your the course of your day, really. I mean, that's pretty much it. I think that it is important for you to take control of your life and not to abide by your feelings at all times, because those are yours. It's not the other way around. So you command those, and you acknowledge those, and you choose to accept them. But you don't choose them. You don't allow them to dictate your life. It should be the other way around. So regardless how you feel, make sure to keep a positive attitude towards everything, most things, if you can initially. But just it would never harm you to keep a positive attitude. That's really what I'm saying. So yeah, I think that's it. That's all I gotta say for this one. So yeah, once again, thank you. I appreciate you for listening. All right.